Let's pull back the curtain on something pretty much all of us use every single day: credit card rewards. You know, all those points, miles, and cashback offers, they feel like a fantastic deal, right? But as we're about to see, there really is no such thing as a free lunch.
I mean, we all know this feeling, don't we? You buy something you were going to get anyway, and bam, your bank gives you a little something back for it. You watch the points pile up, and it really feels like you're winning the game, you know? Like you're getting one over on the system. But have you ever really stopped and asked yourself where that free money is coming from? Because it's not magic. It's certainly not just coming out of the bank's generosity. And answering that one question, well, that's what unlocks this whole thing.
Okay, so here's the uncomfortable truth right up front. The rewards you earn aren't a gift. They're not free. They are, in fact, funded by someone else. And trust me, once you see how this whole system works, you are never going to look at a 2% cashback offer the same way again.
So to really get our heads around this, we have to do what you always do: follow the money. Let's pop the hood on a typical credit card purchase and see how this hidden fee machine actually works.
It all comes down to this thing called the interchange system. And no, it's not just one fee, it's a whole complicated network of them that kicks into gear the instant you tap or swipe your card. The best way to think about it is like a private toll road that your money has to travel on every single time you buy something. So let's trace that journey, shall we? You think you're just paying the store. Simple. But behind the scenes, your money is taking this surprisingly complex trip. It's bouncing between the store's bank, the card network, like Visa or MasterCard, and finally, your bank. And at pretty much every one of those stops, someone is taking a little cut.
So how big is that cut we're talking about? Well, for most credit card purchases, it's somewhere between 1.5% to 3% of the total price. Now that might sound like pennies, but when you spread it across trillions of dollars in transactions every year, it adds up to a staggering amount of money.
So here's what that actually looks like in the real world. You go out and you pay $100 for something, but the small business owner, your local coffee shop or bookstore, they only see about $97 of that. The other $3 or so just get skimmed right off the top to fund this whole system.
But here's the thing. That fee, it doesn't just disappear from the merchant's pocket. Oh no, this is the crucial turning point where that cost gets passed along to, well, everyone, whether you have one of those fancy rewards cards or not.
Look, businesses, especially the small ones, they just can't afford to lose 3% on every single sale. It's just not sustainable. So to stay in business, they have to do the only logical thing they can. They bake that cost right into their prices. And since they really can't have one price for cash and another for credit, they just raise prices for everybody.
So who actually ends up footing the bill for those slightly higher prices? Well, it's the very people who get absolutely zero benefit from the rewards system. We're talking about people who pay with cash, people who use debit cards, or people with just basic credit cards that don't have any points. They are all paying a hidden surcharge without even knowing it.
And this leads us to a pretty unavoidable and kind of shocking conclusion. The entire system is basically a subsidy. People who pay with cash or basic cards are unknowingly funding all the rewards, the cash back, the travel points, the free flights for people who use premium cards.
Now, this isn't just some quirky little feature of our financial system. It has real, tangible societal consequences. When you really look at who benefits from this system and who pays for it, you start to see what economists call a regressive transfer. Basically, an upward transfer of value. And this really shows the stark contrast. On one side, you've got the reward users. They tend to have higher incomes, better credit, and access to all the best cards. And on the other side, you have the non-reward users. They're often lower income, might not even have access to credit, and tend to pay with cash or debit.
So when you connect all the dots, the direction of the money flow is just undeniable. The system quietly takes a little bit of money from people who have fewer financial tools, and it gives it to those who already have more. It's a hidden redistribution of wealth, and it's flowing upward. And this is the crazy real-world result of all of this. Those few extra cents that get baked into the price of a gallon of milk for a customer paying with cash, they become part of this giant pool of money that funds all the perks and luxuries, like getting into a fancy airport lounge, for the premium card holders. It's a wild thought. So the obvious question then is, why? Why don't merchants just opt out? Why not just say, no thanks to credit cards, or offer a discount for cash? Well, that brings us to the next part. This is a system that's pretty much impossible to escape. The reality is, for most businesses today, accepting credit cards isn't really a choice anymore. It's essential just to operate. Your customers expect it.
If you refuse cards, they'll just walk out and go to your competitor right next door who does. It's the classic catch-22. You can't afford the fees, but you also can't afford to lose the customers.
And here's the absolute key to the whole thing. The entire mechanism only works, it only persists, because it's invisible. You don't see the fee broken out on your receipt. You don't notice that the price on the shelf is a tiny bit higher than it could be. The whole system just hums along quietly in the shadows.
All right, so let's bring it all home. What's the bottom line? First, and most importantly, rewards are not and have never been free money.
What are they then? Well, you're the end result of a massive and almost entirely hidden redistribution system.
And it's a system where that value consistently flows in one direction, upward, from those with less financial access to those with more.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought. In a way, this interchange fee is like a private tax that's been levied on almost everything we buy. And what makes it so powerful is precisely the fact that you never see it. You never even know you're paying it. It really makes you wonder, what other invisible systems are out there shaping our world in ways we don't even see? Thanks for joining me for this explainer.